Donald Trump was interviewed by Time magazine and dropped so many individual, insane policies, ridiculous quotes, and like overall dark promises of what's to come in a second Trump term that we've got to break it down. And here is what's coming, Time magazine, if he wins. That, by the way, is a real Time magazine cover. It's not a fake one that was photoshopped like he previously had done when he was so desperate to be on Time magazine that he pretended to be. No, now he really is. And so the reporter who talked to him like described the overall idea of the interview as him, let's see, outlining an imperial presidency that would reshape America and its role in the world. Well, let's get into some of the specifics of how exactly we would be reshaped. So, to carry out a deportation operation designed to remove more than 11 million people from the country, Trump told me, Eric Cortellessa, he would be willing to build migrant detention camps and deploy the US military both at the border and inland. He would let red states monitor women's pregnancies and prosecute those who violate abortion bans. Not just the doctors, but the women and pregnant people too. Lots of fun there.
Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you.
We're gonna jump into each of these individually. So he says he would be willing to fire a US attorney who doesn't carry out his order to prosecute someone. So, like right-wing sheriffs and governors can decide which federal laws they wanna follow and which they don't. But if you're a lawyer who isn't interested in working as part of the bureaucratic apparatus of Gilead, screw you, you're fired, to be clear. He's weighing pardons for every one of his supporters that was accused of attacking the US Capitol on January 6th. To be clear, that includes those who tried to murder cops with their bare hands. Just to be clear, he means those two. He might not come to the aid of an attacked ally in Europe or Asia if he felt that country wasn't paying enough for its own defense, materially increasing the chance of further Russian invasions of European countries. He would gut the US Civil Service, deploy the National Guard to American cities as he sees fit, close the White House Pandemic Preparedness Office. Literally, the one that would prepare us for future pandemics, gone, done. We don't need it. He says it could be 100 years for another pandemic. Who's thinking about that? Gone, okay. And staff his administration with acolytes who back his false assertion that the 2020 election was stolen, saying that if they didn't believe the 2020 election was stolen, then they don't have an open mind, he says. But I want to focus on a couple of the individual most insane things there. So first of all, the idea of deploying the military throughout the country, not something you like to see in America. So Cortellessa asked him, you would use the military inland as well as at the border? I don't think I'd have to do that. I think the National Guard would be able to do that. If they weren't able to, then I'd use the military. We have a different situation. We have millions of people now that we didn't have 2 years ago. And Cortellessa is one of those members of the media who's gonna like pointlessly point out that it's totally illegal and unconstitutional to do this. He says, sir, the Posse Comitatus Act says that you can't deploy the US military against civilians. Would you override that? Well, these aren't civilians. These are people that aren't legally in our country, which is not the definition of a civilian. This is an invasion of our country, an invasion like probably no one has ever seen before. They're coming in by the millions. I believe we have 15 million now. And I think you'll have 20 million by the time this ends. And that's bigger than almost every state. That's not true. So you can see yourself using the military to address this. I can see myself using the National Guard. And if necessary, I'd have to go a step further. We have to do whatever we have to do to stop the problem we have. So, one does not need to take this and then project forward. If this is establishing a principle for the use of military, where else could this go? You don't need to do that for this to be horrifying. We will probably do that. But first of all, sending the US military across America to hunt down and deport migrants is not something that has ever been done on this scale, anything like it, anything at all like it for decades and decades. That would be a fundamental change in the relationship between the US military and the American people. They're not supposed to be deployed against us. They're supposed to guard us from foreign threats. They're not supposed to be your own personal police force, okay? But that is clearly how Donald Trump sees them. And what I love about this is Donald Trump is the head of the Republican Party, which has always appealed more to like the Alex Jones types whose worst nightmare throughout the 90s and the aughts was the US military is gonna come into our cities. It's gonna be Operation Jade Thunder, and they're gonna invade our city. Now he's promising they're gonna invade our cities and they're going to track down people that Trump doesn't like. Now it's migrants right now, and none of those conspiracy theorists will have a problem with that. But if they can have the military deployed against them because they're not civilians, even though they are, who else loses the classification of civilian by simple virtue of Donald Trump no longer thinking that they deserve it? I mean, he's taken Sharon to talking about the vermin of communists, fascists, and Marxist thugs. Are they not civilians anymore? Can the military invade Colombia? Can the military track down media that's been mean to him? Again, we don't have to hypothesize. This is bad enough, but what do you make of it?
Well, it depends on what mood he wakes up in, or if he's out of Diet Coke. It's just we're gonna take it day by day. Aren't we still trying to reunite children with their families after they were separated over the border and living in cages? Pretty sure that's the case. Now, do you believe him? Speaking to those out there who think it's just Trump talk, Bill Barr might be back. Maybe he'll be back as AG, or this time we'll go with a safer bet, Rudy Giuliani. It is maddening. He means every word of it. He just got off a party line with Kim Jong-un and Putin. And so he's taking a page out of their book. We will be occupied.
Yeah, it's really feeling like that. So I understand that this is an interview he did with a magazine, okay? We can't play video of it, so it's less exciting, less dramatic. But like, this is barely being discussed. He's saying he's gonna deploy the military into Detroit, into Grand Rapids, everywhere, wherever you are. There could be tanks rolling down the street. We know he loves tanks, and it's barely being talked about. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.